So can I share it now?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
So I want to welcome everyone back tonight. We're 5 o'clock on the dot, and I heard that the audio is okay today. So we're hopefully on a road to getting past our technical difficulties with the audio. I'm joined live by Dmitry Salita, who's a world champion boxer, and now has transitioned to being a promoter with Salita Promotions. As you saw, that was his logo. So Dmitry, I really appreciate you joining me from your quarantine. Where are you located? Where are you right now?
Thank you. I'm in Michigan. Nice to connect with you. I've seen some great conversations on your page over the last several days. So I'm happy and honored to be one of those.
Thank you. I appreciate you being an early guest, and I definitely think it's interesting to have someone who's big in the sports world to talk about what the sports world is now. There's plenty of articles about it, and the different leagues are trying to find new ways to revamp and start. And I know the NFL is also jumbling with their schedule to push it back. I think 6 weeks into October if need be. So it's it's definitely all over the place, and a new situation. So first of all, why don't you? Let's start out with, what was your boxing record, your professional record?
35 wins and 2 losses.
Okay, so 2 losses. I'm aiming for the third. I brought my towel. You're in Michigan, so we're miles away from each other. I can talk shit right now if I want to,
you got KO Kings, or we could make two players and just fight it off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But again, thank you for for being with us. Tell me, and tell everyone a little bit about your career.
Well, in a nutshell, my family immigrated to the United States in 1991 from Odessa, Soviet Union at that time, Ukraine now. I started boxing at the age of 13, 1995 at Starrett City Boxing Club. And at that time, Starrett City Boxing Club was one of the top boxing gyms in the country and in the world, produced such great fighters as Danny Jacobs, Louis Collazo, Shannon Briggs, Monty Barrett, Curtis Stevens, Tarvis Sims, Travis Sims, myself, Saddam Ali, and the list goes on. And there was loads of very talented fighters that, due to circumstances of life, didn't have a chance to progress, but were incredibly talented. So it was had great education. So very, very fortunate to have grown up in that environment, and had developed a very close relationship with Mr. Jimmy O'Farrell, who was the director of Starrett City Boxing Club, and he kind of took me under his wing. And being relatively new in the country, I saw life and saw America through his eyes in many ways. And so it gave me great education and great view of things in life that many people, didn't have, especially from my background, wouldn't have the chance to experience. So I was pretty serious about boxing from the beginning of my career, since I was 13. And I won many tournaments since I was, from the beginning of my career, really state, like 7 or 8 or 9 different state titles as a junior and as an adult. I won the New York State title at 16 years old against, which was very young. Like the youngest possible. I won the U.S. Nationals. I won the Golden Gloves. I got the Sugar Robinson Award as announced as being the outstanding boxer in a tournament. And that year, that tournament had a lot of guys that went on to be world champions. Then I turned pro with Bob Arum, Top Rank, which was and is one of, if not the biggest promotional company in boxing. And then I was signed with Lou DiBella and with Square Ring, and I fought for Golden Boy, and won 4 different titles throughout my career. Started at 140 pounds, which was very difficult to make, and then fought at 147 towards the end of my career. And after I fought Amir Khan and lost that fight, I formed my own promotional company. First, really for myself, and I fought on many of those events. And then it progressed into a business slowly, and I saw the need and the space for my vision, and having the experience of fighting under some of the biggest names in the sport of boxing, really being exposed to the highest level of boxing since I was 19 years old. Fighting on the Top Rank co-main events with Vladimir Klitschko and Floyd Mayweather and Eric Morales and all these guys, really gave me a view of how things could be and should be with my own 2 cents. And so here we are, turned pro in 2001. So 19 years later, and we have now some of the best fighters in the world signed to us. Some history makers or her story makers, like Clarissa Shields, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, unified middleweight world champion, Otto Whalen, Jarrell Miller, Shoji Connor Gashev. All in all, about 30 or so fighters. But and things were looking on up and up. But Corona gave us a big punch in the gut.
Yeah, no pun intended. No pun intended.
So we got to regroup and find ways to make it work.
So first I have a couple of questions to follow up with that. But my first question is, like in football and baseball, that you have there's a lot of players, a lot of teams, and it's team sports. So some players and athletes then become and transition into coaches or broadcasters, et cetera, et cetera. In boxing, it seems like a real old boys club where you have these top promoters or big promoters that command everyone and all the big time boxers. Like, how do you transition in an industry where it's really tough? Everyone's tough and brash. Like, how do you go from being a boxer, except for chutzpah, to enter that market and say, I'm going to kick ass at it, and I'm going to have a Clarissa Shields, who's the 2-time Olympic gold medalist and world champion. I mean, it's I'm very impressed by it, and I think everyone is. But like, what did it take to do that, and how did you navigate that?
Good question, great question.
Cheers, by the way.
You know what? Cheers to that. By the way, you're right. Cheers to that.
To you and
L'chaim, as we say. Thanks, man. So, that question was loaded, and I'm just thinking where to start. So first of all, you take it one step at a time. You got to have vision. You got to have a dream for the greatest and for the ultimate result. And then it's important to take steps every day. Take little steps every day, even crawls. And sometimes the wind blows you back, but you still got to try to fight against the wind and keep taking those steps. So,
Dmitry, you there? I think we lost Dmitry. I'm gonna get him to come right back. Apologize for that. He was in the middle of a great answer. Right now, we'll just sit by the fire while we wait for Dmitry to come back. And also at the end, while we're waiting, unlike the other nights, Dmitry said that he'll stay on and answer a couple questions at the end. So we'll check Facebook Live and we'll check comment section. Hey, Dmitry, welcome back.
Sorry, no problem. We got kicked off here, but I'm happy to be back. Yeah. So, first of all, I really had a vision for what it's supposed to be like, and in the beginning, let me tell you how it started. First of all, after I had the big fight with Amir Khan and I lost, I really wanted to get back in the ring right away. But then I met with different promoters, established managers. But what they had offered me didn't really talk to me, didn't motivate me. And I had a young family at that time, and I had to make money, so I had to kind of move fast. I didn't have flexibility of time. So I thought to myself, I have a pretty good fan base. I have relationships with the press, the media, sponsors, television. Why don't I try to do it myself? And from making that decision to fight night, it was 5 weeks. And we had a sold out event. It was on TJC. And it made some money. So it was really a great success.
That's amazing.
For that level. So, and then continue to promote my own shows, and then fighters that were very talented, that I felt and I had an eye to recognize talent before others did. They were very talented, had a lot of potential, wanted to fight on my events. And then with time, they wanted to sign with me. And it slowly, progressed into business. So, it really, things are driven by talent. You got to have the knowledge, experience to be able to develop that talent to its maximum potential. So it is a very tough marketplace, and there's very little room at the top, and there's a lot of exclusive deals, with networks, and it's difficult to function in that environment. But thank God, that have the work ethic and the vision to function.
Dmitry, you're freezing a little bit. Just let me know.
On a cat. So, okay, are we good? We're good now?
Yeah, we're good now. So, describe to me what does train like a boxer mean? Like in the context of like day in, day out. I'm thinking about, you had, I want to know, first of all, like, I'm sure over the next couple of months, like, March through June during Katrina, I went to Tulane during, during Katrina, so I apologize. So, to me, Corona, ruined, not ruined or hurt a lot of events. Everyone's got to stay home. So what was your, the next couple of months looking like? And, how does training like a boxer give you the fortitude to A, get through that? And then B, are your boxers training right now so that, everything opens up, we can have a first fight, we can all make money again?
So, it's a guessing game in terms of when events are going to get back and to what capacity we'll be able to function. A huge part of our business is the gate and revenue from sites, from casinos, from venues. I don't think that's happening in the near future. And I think that big towns like New York City, Vegas, Atlantic City, events as they functioned previously are not going to function in the same capacity. So that obviously affects sponsorship deals, affects venue revenue. It's a ricochet effect on so many things. It affects fighter promotion, press conferences. I'm sure like 99% of business people, maybe 100%, have had all their meetings on Zoom or something like this. So there's little social interaction, and we don't know how people are going to respond to being social again, to going out. A big part of Fight Week is, fans and media. People get together, they go out to dinner, they hang out, they communicate.
Where they get in each other's faces. That's not social distancing,
Or at the weigh-in, right? They have masks.
Yeah. There's
the weigh-in. They can have masks. But definitely, this kind of changes the sports world, and I honestly can only talk about boxing really in a really big way, and it changes the business formulas for boxing in a big way. So how it's going to be, it's definitely going to be affected. We're just not sure yet to what extent and how the staging of progression of events is going to really relay into fans being able to come to fights. But college football, for example, 50,000 fans every weekend. I mean, something that folks look forward to the whole year. Yeah. And when one of the interesting things, I was in New York City when there was a blackout, and you realize, which was like in 2002 or 3 or 4, I don't even remember. But so it's like, you realize how much gets affected by things that you take for granted. And, with this coronavirus, you should really see how many things in our life that we take for granted are affected from daily basics, like going out to dinner or going to the movies or going to a play or just hanging out with friends, So, and then are people going to have money to spend money on tickets? How is this going to affect our economy? So we don't know all these things. But as a fighter, you go to training camp for most of your fights, all your fights. Mm-hmm. And training camp schedule is you wake up in the morning, you run early in the morning, you run, you go back to sleep, you eat, you wake up again, you train, you're tired, take a shower, go to sleep, repeat, so this is, but as a fighting training camp, that in 3 weeks and 5 weeks and 6 weeks, you're going to come out and you're going to be able to party and to do what you want to do,
Have you ever done like Floyd and gone out till 3 a.m. and then just decided to go to the gym, or you waited till the 5-6 a.m. Wake up for the run?
So I've had the honor of being training camp with Floyd.
That's amazing.
Several times early in my career. So Floyd usually trained late in the afternoon, like 3-4 o'clock. Mm-hmm. But sometimes he would change at times, because when you train really hard, sometimes you can't sleep because your body's overtrained and overexcited. So really, schedule is good, and I feel like because I came from a kind of Soviet upbringing, we like order and we like things set, but it's not always a good thing. So if you feel that you can't fall asleep till 4 a.m. and you feel like you want to go run, the right thing to do is to go run. So Floyd obviously
stay in bed and
perfected
sleep till 11. No.
exactly. Yeah, because that's his job, right? And then train at 8 o'clock at night. So sometimes when I was a kid and I didn't really know any better, I was like, Floyd is training at 8 today. He's training, because sometimes he would switch his times. But I understand kind of the method behind the madness, so to say, that he scheduled himself in such a way that that he can train, a couple of times a day and really rest, which is so important. So I don't know how we veered into this from talking about training vis-a-vis Corona, but yeah.
Well, so let's pop back in. I mean, I think again, like a lot of people have, decent mental fortitude. We have challenges in life. We're all human beings. We're dealing with this together and individually. Do you think like that, exceptional training and regimen and discipline as a boxer has, led to, or do you think as a professional boxer, professional athlete, having that mental fortitude, is helpful in getting through the challenging times of quarantine and lockdown? Or do you think like after a certain time, you're a human being, you have a family, you have kids at home, like you break down as well?
Oh, I mean, for sure, having gone through that definitely gives you some sense of such days and such nights. But obviously it has an impact on you, has a stress on you, not being in the same environment all the time. The good thing is that I have a chance to spend a lot of time with my kids and really participate in their schoolwork and some of their entertainment, and so that's the good thing. Time of day is a little skewed, so you can kind of work at odd hours because you don't have to take the kids to school in the morning, so to say. It's been quite an experience, but it feels like we're going to get out of it soon. I don't know if it's true, but it feels like it. And I hope that can be done in a healthy and constructive way. And hopefully we really collectively, the whole world community, hopefully stop the growth of this thing and we can get back to work and to get back to making things happen.
We hope and pray, certainly. I also wanted to, I've been thinking about it a lot. Like everyone thinks that, you're a professional boxer, you're a professional athlete. Don't worry about them. They make a shit ton of money. They're fine. But like you mentioned earlier about, when you were starting your, Salita Promotions, you went, you had to really push it because you needed to make money to support your family. Can you, of course, the Mayweathers, the Tysons, who also lost a lot of money, the big names can command a tremendous amount of money for fights and then, and then have that put it in the bank. But an average fighter, like, can you give us a little insight into like what does an average fighter make per fight? And then, and I don't think that they're so set in like that they're okay during this time. They're not fighting. There's no purses. Can you give us a little insight into that?
So I would say that 95% of the boxing community, the fighters and the athletes, probably need to make money every 3 to 4 months to live and to survive. Especially, the fighters that are the prospects and prospects and maybe contenders, that are fighting 4, 5, 6 times a year. They're not really making a lot of money. Anywhere from 1,500 to 10,000, let's say. Obviously, it can go a little more, go a little less, but not, not, especially if you have a family, not enough money to be able to support yourself fully. So there's only a chosen few who made enough money where they can kind of weather the storm and sustain themselves during this time. So it's very, very challenging. And, and some fighters may need to get a job, go to work, or won't be able to. I know that, a lot of guys that I communicate with, my fighters and guys that are my friends, spend time working at home, training at home, to go for a run, they do some shadow boxing. But there's nothing like being in a gym and being around a competitive environment, sparring, hitting the bag, but just getting that sense and that soul in you There's nothing like it. So what I think is going to happen, maybe we're going to see a lot of exciting fights, because when the champions fight the guys that they're supposed to beat easily, the champions haven't been training. The champions have been quarantined just like the challengers. And so I think it may equalize to some extent those type of fights.
And everyone's hungry to get out there and get back in the ring.
Everybody's hungry. I think that there's also, we'll be able to make bigger fights sooner, because there is no possibility, or there may not be possibility for gate revenue for some time. So the big fights need to happen so that networks can generate revenue and pay the fighters. But speaking with people about this in the industry, everybody's guessing about different things, and no one really knows. No one really knows how this is going to go. If there's going to be a decrease, if there's going to be an increase, what's going to happen when we go back to life, and as these stages of us, getting into it, or how that's going to progress.
Well, what do you think it's going to switch to? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, and also places like New York City that had some of the biggest fights in boxing forever.
Yeah.
And Vegas, just from a business point of view, tourists in New York City. It's
rough.
It's
going to be think of bankruptcy after being high, flying high for a long time, or.
The casinos. Billions and billions of dollars. I think
it's rough.
Yeah.
What do you like just quickly, what do you think the first fight back looks like? Do you think that it's only on pay-per-view? Because in my mind, I'm thinking with NFL, with baseball, you have local, regional, broadcasts, and then you can also with certain networks, you can get things online. But with boxing, you have this command. You have a command of this audience. You have people that follow certain boxers, and you're on pay-per-view or Showtime. So therefore, you have this national audience. Do you think that boxing will be less affected, and also do you think it'll be without audiences when it comes back?
It definitely is going to be without audiences when it comes back. When you say pay-per-view, if you're talking about ESPN and Showtime, so if you mean like paid for platforms, not pay-per-view.
No, I meant people have to pay to see the content, exactly, the fights.
Is as an individual event or
as an individual.
I don't think pay-per-views are going to happen, because pay-per-views, for example, Fury Wilder, the gate was 17 million, so that played a big part into paying the purse of the fighters.
Wow.
I don't think that big, real, true pay-per-views and pay-per-views, not real fights cost $80, $100. That's money, and people may not have the confidence in this environment to spend that kind of money, not knowing what the economy is going to look like tomorrow. So
and for the premier boxers, it might not be worth getting in the ring if the purse isn't big enough.
Exactly. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of live content. I think there's going to be a lot of very good, great, solid fights.
Yeah.
But they're going to be without fans, and and across the board, possibly, it's going to, for sure, it's going to financially influence, everyone in the industry. But I do think that and I think that boxing was going to be the first sport to come back because of the number of the participants. There's no season. It's kind of easier. It's an easier sport to swing.
And
it's
you can push the schedule down the road. You can do it. Yeah.
So, Top Rank with their partner ESPN said they're going to do several fights a week. So they're going to do 2-3 shows in a week, which is pretty incredible.
As a catch-up. That is awesome.
As a catch-up. It's, so it kind of changes the changes the context of what the sport has been like. I think we also have an opportunity to attract a lot of sports fans that have not been boxing fans and that haven't had a chance to see boxing.
Especially if it's the first thing back. Everyone's. I started playing Madden with my brother-in-law, and I've never touched a video game since N64 when I was probably in 4th grade. But I miss sports and football so much that I had to play a little bit. Let's switch gears a little bit. I know you're home, you're with your family. What's your any new hobbies that you've picked up recently?
I've been on my free time doing a lot of reading actually. I always loved biographies, and so I've been reading some books. The Snowball Effect, Warren Buffett. Reading my Destiny. Say what?
I love his name. I love his name. No.
Oh yeah.
Same
Oh,
name,
yes.
plus money.
You know, it's funny. Well, when I have to call you, I always think of him because I'm reading the book. I'm almost finished reading the book. So, and it's like an 800-page book.
Yeah.
King of the Cats. It's on. It's about Mr. Powell, who's one of the first. Adam Clayton Powell, who I found out about from watching The Godfather of Harlem. Wow. Really incredible series, and an incredible guy. Reading a book about him, reading a book about Winston Churchill. I've already finished several books. So expanding my horizon that way.
Wait, you're training, you're reading 4 books, you're helping with your kids with homework, and you're running a business. How do you do all this?
With the help of the good Lord. This is what you get done when you're in quarantine.
Yeah, exactly. So now that we have a couple minutes left, let's pop over to Facebook and see if any questions come in. We have Dmitry here who said. So we have a couple minutes left. Let's pop over to Facebook and see if any questions come in. We have Dmitry here who said. So we have a couple minutes left.
Let's do it.
We don't have any questions on there, but I'm sure what we could do is you could always pop on.
Let me see. Maybe folks have questions.
Yeah, definitely wanted to open up to the public, and I appreciate your willingness to do that. But if not, I'm sure that Dmitry would be willing to come back, in the comment section, answer some questions if you post them there.
Sure, definitely.
All right. Anything else people should know about you, know about your fighters, upcoming things that you have planned?
Well, we don't have anything upcoming, but check your social media and my social media.
Exactly.
Because I just want to say, I wanted to say one thing. We're talking about the business of sports, and Forbes, with your help, just published an article about the growth of women's sports and the effect that COVID-19 has had on it. So, I have the honor of promoting Clarissa Shields, who's a history maker in her sport and has been driving the sport of women's boxing ever since she turned pro. So, women's sports as a whole, probably, but I can only talk about women's boxing, is experiencing a tremendous amount of growth. And it's because there's there's a good amount of great fighters. Clarissa is number one, but there's lots of other ones that are very talented and very accomplished. But Clarissa has been driving the industry, and she's doing it because she chooses to fight the best. She wants to fight the biggest names. She always wants for it to be a special night when she steps into the ring. She was originally scheduled to fight May 9th for junior middleweight title unification in Flint, Michigan, which I anticipated was going to be a sold-out crowd. But now likely that, either won't happen or will happen, significantly later down the road. But
your website is salitapromotions.com, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, and Salita Promotions on Facebook,
Instagram. Yep. So what I want to say is that because and it was a very interesting article, since women's sports and women's boxing is experiencing this growth, and now there's this standstill that really pushed the growth of it back to some extent. Hopefully not for too long, because I feel like when baseball, football, everything's going to come back. Everything, the things people remember it for decades. So that's going to come back to normal in a quick way. But with women's boxing, we just need to continue to make the big fights with Clarissa, and pushing the fans to tune in and to watch excitement and then greatness.
That's awesome. I appreciate you coming again. If anyone has any questions, let them post it in the comments, and then I'll let you know, and we can pop back in there. But Dmitry, as always, it's a pleasure. Thank you for coming on here.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great rest of the week. I appreciate you, man.
Thanks, man.